Hi, everyone. I'm going to be talking right now about the Civil Rights Act and the Equal Educational Opportunities Act. And I'm going to go over just a few of the key points with each of these. So, in terms of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is a key piece of legislation that undergirds the rights of English learners and students with disabilities in our schools, this act encompasses a wide variety of civil rights. A couple of them, I have several of them here, a couple of them are very important, including Title IV, which was the desegregation of public education, non-discrimination in federally assisted programs, which is Title VI. Those are two that really feed into, especially Title VI, in terms of education of English learners and students with disabilities. I do also want to call your attention to Title VII, though, Equal Employment Opportunity, because there was a recent 2020 Supreme Court case that clarified who comes under that, which groups are protected classes, and did include sexual orientation and gender identification under equal employment opportunities. Two things that you need to know about Title VII of the Civil Rights Act is that this act specifically prohibits discrimination in federally funded programs. And I want to emphasize federally funded programs. So if a program receives federal funds, if they receive money, as public schools do, then then they fall under the Civil Rights Act. And this discrimination that is prohibited is on the basis of race, color, and national origin. And indeed, national origin, that idea has supported much of the rights of English learners to receive instructional programs designed to support their development of English. And I want to reiterate again, both general and special education programs are supported with federal monies. And that's why the Civil Rights Act is so important and pertains to what we do in schools. The Equal Educational Opportunities Act of 1975 is also important because it has a requirement in there that states that school districts and school education agencies must take appropriate action to overcome language barriers that impede equal participation by its students in its instructional programs. So that means in order to reduce this impedance, in order to help students have equal participation, schools must take an affirmative, they must take an active stance to do something. And doing something is providing some sort of educational program. What program? The type of educational program is not specified, and that is left open to interpretation. So does it have to be bilingual education? Can it be bilingual education? Is it English only education? What? This is not specified in federal legislation. And again, that quotation is the important part of for us in here, that schools must take action. Now, in terms of what they must do, there's three components that are important. There's a component of schools, there's a component of teachers, and there's a component of settings. In terms of schools, while the specific type of program is not dictated by this law, they do state that schools must provide sound and effective language assistance services. What is sound and effective? That sometimes is up to interpretation, but research really helps us here. Teachers must be qualified. So we can't just have anybody coming in and saying they're doing something. This is where we have a need to have teachers who are credentialed, they are licensed, they are endorsed. And in terms of settings, we want students to be educated with their peers to the greatest extent possible. However, it's important to recognize that having students in bilingual education settings with other students who also speak that same language is not considered to be segregation.